Okay. So I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded, and we ask that you please rename your Zoom name to your full name and the organization that you're with. And if you're a resident, you can put the letter R. So for roll call, I'm just going to go down the list as it appears on my screen. And when I call on your name, if you can please unmute and say which organization you're with. And then at the end, I'll be introducing attendees from the Port of Stockton. So first up, we have Beth White.
Hi, Beth White with the California Air Resources Board.
Thank you, Beth. Welcome. Then we have Chuck.
Chuck DeYoung with H.J. Baker.
Thank you. Welcome. And Katie Chamberlain.
Katie Chamberlain with Anchor QEA.
Thanks, Katie. Next, we have Ollie.
Yeah, hi, Ollie Danner here with Project Clean Air and Zero Rig.
Thanks. Welcome, Ollie. And then we have Margot.
Hi, Margot Prouse. I'm a resident. I'm on the CSC for AB 617 and Delta Sierra Group.
Welcome. And then we have ASL interpreter Janet. We've got two ASL interpreters. We've got Janet and then Katie. So thank you for being here.
Sure thing.
Okay. Thanks. And then we have Hector.
Hello, Hector Olivares from Catholic Charities Diocese of Stockton.
Thank you, Hector. Welcome. And then Gloria.
Gloria Alonso with Little Manila Rising.
Thanks, Gloria. And Jeff Robbins.
Good afternoon, Jeff Robbins with Nevada Cement Company.
Thank you. Welcome. And we've got Kyle Goff.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Kyle Goff with the California Air Resources Board.
Thank you. Welcome. And Mariah Looney.
Hi, everyone. Mariah Looney, Operations Manager with Restore the Delta.
Thanks, Mariah. And Rachel Martinez Reagan.
Hi, Rachel Martinez Regan with the California Air Resources Board.
Welcome, Rachel. And Robbie.
Yeah, I'm Ravi Narayanan with HDR Engineering.
Thank you. And Tanisha.
Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Raj with Catholic Charities.
Welcome, Tanisha. And Taylor Williams.
Hey, everybody. Taylor Williams with Edge Collaborative.
Thanks, Taylor. And Willie.
Willie Marquez, resident.
Thank you, Willie. And Jared.
Good afternoon, Jared Kupchak, Nevada Cement Company.
Thank you for being here, Jared. Okay, from the Port of Stockton, we have Commission Chair William Trezza. We have Commissioner David Atwater, and we have our newest Commissioner, Margaret Steeden. And so from staff, we have Jeff Wingfield, of course, Deputy Port Director of Regulatory and Public Affairs, Jason Cashman, Environmental and Regulatory Affairs Manager, Daniel Orozco, our Grants Management Specialist, Karen Romero, and myself. And I don't think I'm missing anybody. I apologize if I did. But with that, I'll turn it back on over to you, Jeff.
Great, thank you. I'm with Commissioner Chair Trezza, and we are up at in Sacramento today. It's California Ports Day at the Capitol, so we're advocating for funding to further clean the fleets coming in and out of ports. We're here with I think 9 of the other 11 public ports, all advocating for the same thing. So it's been a good day, and it's been exciting to come up and kind of share our stories with the state legislature. Quickly, for today's agenda, we're going to give an update on the Port of Stockton, Washington Ventura project. We are going to give an update on the Clean Truck program, or the Clean Fuels Conference, Trucking with Clean Fuels Conference that's going to happen next week at the Port of Stockton, which we're all very excited about. And then just to give a couple quick updates, I wanted to let folks know that the Bayotech CEQA document is going to be out again for public review. We're recirculating that. I know we had, I don't know if folks on the meeting here today were at or saw our board meeting probably last month, where we had some folks come in talking about the Golden State Natural Resources Project, which is a wood pellet export project. There was some concerns that there were some kind of backroom dealings and negotiations that were going on and some agreements. And I can tell you that I tried to get to this last meeting, but there have been no real lease negotiations that have gone on with GSNR. We don't have any agreements with them. I know that they've been out doing some public meetings. We still don't know if there's a project really for the port to consider, but we will appreciate all of your input on the project once it gets to that point. But I just wanted to state that for today's meeting. That's really important, that we want to make sure that the community and the folks that are here understand that we're as transparent as we can be without providing any lease negotiation type proprietary information. But we would definitely let folks know if there was a negotiation going on. Quickly on the bonnet capture and control system, we got some funding from the federal government last year as community project funding. Obviously, without the government providing a budget, that's been delayed, but we're still pushing and in coordination with Congressman Harder's office on that. And then we have our Energize program, which is going to allow us to put and install additional charging infrastructure at the port to support the zero emission cargo handling fleet. We're working hard on that with PG&E. We have to submit some plans to them in order to get them to approve us to serve us for a higher level to be able to support some of this charging infrastructure. But we've got 10 new chargers that'll be coming in the not too distant future. So that's great. At the last AB 617 meeting and in previous meetings, I've talked about the Port of Stockton, Washington Ventura Access Project. We thought, we're doing everything we can to get trucks out of the neighborhood, especially from going right adjacent to Washington Elementary. So we've had HDR looking at some pre-engineering to figure out if the Ventura access point is really a good option for us. So with that, I just wanted we've been having Ravi and Mike Higgins from HDR work on some of the engineering on that, and I wanted them to share what we've come up with so far, just to give the group here an update. So Ravi, I can turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Can everybody see me and hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Julia, if I'm able to share my screen, do I need access or?
You should be able to share it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I will. Okay. If everyone is able to see my screen, just let me know. Are you folks able to see my screen? Or not yet.
Yes, we can see it, but it's not in presentation mode, but we can see it.
Okay, 1 second. I'm maybe sharing this wrong screen here. Seeing my screen yet, or?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can see it.
It's gone now.
Oh boy. Okay. Maybe I'll go to the other screen here.
It's fine in that mode. In that we were just seeing the layout mode, but that's fine.
Okay.
Margot, I saw in the chat you were asking about closed captions.
Yeah, I was just wondering, usually I see the option, but I don't, but I don't.
Julia or
Yeah,
Karen, do you
Margot,
have
we-
information?
Okay, you're seeing my
We
screen now?
set it-
or-
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Margot, we set it up for closed captions, but for some reason it's not working right now, so we apologize. We'll make sure that's up and running for next time, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you're
Thank you.
if folks are able to see my screen, we'll just move right along here. So I have a very brief presentation here today. Without further ado, the project, like Jeff mentioned, it's about Washington Street, Ventura Avenue, roadway widening improvements. And maybe I'll first share a screen that shows the project limits. But the picture here that you see is the existing deficiency, if you will, in terms of trucks lining up on the south side of Washington Street, trying to find gaps or for the rail to clear before they can make a right turn. So this is one of the issues we are trying to solve with this project. And of course, the next item is basically just to show a high level overview of the project limits we are looking at in terms of improving Washington Street and Ventura Avenue. And again, the purpose and need of the project is essentially to route heavy trucks away and around the Box Track neighborhood, which is a county residential neighborhood. And it's been a longstanding need of the community to move traffic away from that neighborhood and via Navy Drive onto Washington Street. So the limits of our project here kind of extend east from the Navy Drive intersection all the way to the east at the intersection of Ventura Avenue, and then go north on Ventura Avenue towards Port Road A and Harbor Street. So there is a couple of things that we are accomplishing with this project. The main item is, of course, to improve traffic operations and queuing and staging for large trucks especially in the eastbound direction on the south side of Washington Street, as I mentioned from the previous slide. And then the Ventura Avenue would also be the main access route to route traffic away from the Box Track neighborhood that's immediately east of that short segment of roadway. And so that would be the general alignment and limits of the project. We are in the process of undertaking the initial preliminary engineering studies, and other technical studies are forthcoming. Our schedule for now is to get what we call a draft project report equivalent completed for the project that would lay out some typical cross sections for the Washington Street widening as well as Ventura Avenue realignment, and look at basically the constraints, opportunities, and as well as high level cost estimates and so forth for the whole corridor at a preliminary engineering level, and establish the feasibility of improvements as to what can and cannot be accomplished within this corridor. And then that would set the stage for the next steps in this project, which would be upon completion of the preliminary conceptual definition for the project, that would set up the basis for pursuing funding strategies for the project with the benefit of some high level cost estimate information we would be generating as part of this preliminary engineering work. And then in the ultimate phase, we would move on to the final design and construction. So that's pretty much a high level overview of what we are accomplishing right now. And maybe I'll turn it back to Jeff and we can take any questions at this point. Thank you.
Thanks, Ravi. Appreciate the update. Yeah, are there any questions from anybody? I will say that if you can go back to the layout there, Ravi, I wanted to point something out, that this isn't the perfect solution. I don't know, Ravi, if you can use your pointer to show where one of the main rail lines comes into the port just east of our boundary. There still will be an at-grade crossing at that location.
Right. I mean, at Port Road A, Harbor Street?
No, I'm talking about on Washington.
Correct.
Just east of the port boundary.
Right.
So it may still be that we take a look at this and realize that, okay, this isn't the best fit. There is another alternative that's a lot more expensive. When we thought that it was going to take a lot longer to implement than this strategy. So that still is on the table, but I just figured I'd throw that out, see if there are any questions. Okay. Seeing none, thank you, Ravi, so much. We appreciate the update, and we'll make sure to check back in regularly with this group on this project. I know this is a project of major interest, and so we'll make sure to give you regular updates. Okay. Our
Jeff, it
next.
looks like Jasmine had her hand up. Jasmine, do you still have a question?
Yeah, not necessarily a question, but just a comment. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for sharing that overview, Ravi. I guess what I'm wondering is, you know, if of the options that you all are pursuing for rerouting traffic, you know, is there a point where we're going to evaluate all of those options, or that this group is going to have an opportunity to weigh in on all of the options that are being explored? Or is the plan to just continue to bring them kind of like as they're being baked for us to kind of observe and comment on? Just trying to it's been a while since I've been in this space, and so I just want to make sure I'm clear on how you all are going about giving us this information and the opportunity to weigh in.
So having like a public scoping meeting or something like that?
Well, I guess what I'm really trying to get at is a bigger, deeper discussion around the revitalization of the port, which is a bigger topic than, you know, project by project. But I am curious, what the scale of the different improvements that you all are looking at, where you're at with that, and if it's being considered in kind of totality as opposed to these one-off kind of improvements.
Yeah, we actually have some discussions going on about a bigger overall terminal development plan, focusing on, what particular cargoes potentially we want to go after and looking at the overall layout of the port. We're still a ways off from that. So our short-term goal was to do what we could do to get traffic out of the neighborhood. But as soon as we can move forward with that larger, much more expensive study, we will definitely be getting input from the community.
Okay, yeah, and I'll just like to have it, for the record and for all that we hope that opportunity comes urgently, because there are other projects kind of happening. And I think it's time for us to really look more at a 50,000 foot view with the community to really understand and put timelines to these things, because the pollution issues are still really prevalent and they're not getting better. And so I think it feels really urgent to have that conversation. So that's just my thoughts on it. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we're excited to have our Trucking with Clean Fuels conference that's coming up next week. It's really aimed at our tenants and trying to provide the local trucking companies with options, zero emission options for trucking in and out of the port. Well, with that said, we welcome anybody from this group that would want to attend to see kind of what's going on. It's really focused on a ride and drive. We're going to do a convoy, and I wanted Ollie to come share with us a little bit about a little bit more in depth of what that entails. So thanks, Ollie.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Hi, everybody. Julia, could I share my screen?
Yes, you should have the ability to.
Okay, 1 second here. There we go. Okay. It's cutting a little bit off the top there. Can you see the top there? Yeah, let's see. Okay. So can you see the flyer we got there?
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay, great. So we're excited to work with the port on this project, this event. We personally, I've been doing these events for about 12 years in the passenger vehicle space as well as the commercial vehicle space to promote clean transportation throughout the Central Valley. I work for Project Clean Air and the San Joaquin Valley Clean Cities Coalition. We're funded by the DOE, and our mission is to educate the public, the private and public sector, as well as the commercial and industry on what's available on the transportation side. As you can see on the flyer here, we have a whole host of electric and hydrogen trucks that are in the marketplace right now. So we will allow, the goal here is to have fleets come in and test drive vehicles, everything from a Ford F-150 all the way to a Class 8 electric or hydrogen truck. And again, some of these trucks are in production on the road right now. There's currently 18,000 commercial electric vehicles on the road in the US, including a few hydrogen. So these are viable vehicles that are in use, garbage trucks, delivery vans. There's a lot of use cases for these types of vehicles. Of course, the challenges with the electric vehicles is over the road, and that's coming in a few years, as well as hydrogen. So we'll have it's kind of a multi-part event where we'll have we're touting this as the world's largest zero emission convoy, which will be within the port. It's a 2-mile loop. It's really a parade. So you can come and see that. It's going to be quite the opportunity to take some pictures and video and to see all these vehicles in a procession. And then after that's done, we'll have the ride drive from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. As well as we have sessions inside. And as you can see, we'll have speakers from CARB, CalSTART, talking about HVIP. And really, it's just to educate fleets on how do they look for incentives on vehicles, the infrastructure, the energy. And as you can see from some of the sponsors, PG&E is one of the sponsors, and we have companies like Forum Mobility and Watt EV, which offer truck as a service or energy as a service. So there's a lot of options for trucking companies and fleet and owner operators to transition over to clean transportation. Of course, in California, we're going to be a little more aggressive in pushing those goals to reduce emissions from commercial transportation. And again, it's the February 29th from 9 until we'll have the mayor come in and speak for a few minutes at 9 o'clock. And I think that's the event in a nutshell. We have an expo as well with quite a few exhibitors that be happy to talk to folks about this industry. And so, yeah.
Thanks, Ollie.
You bet.
Yeah, and if you're interested in attending, you can reach out to us either through the chat here or through email, and we can get you access. So really excited about this event and looking forward to it. So thanks, Ollie.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. We've got so one of the things we wanted to do is kind of learn a little bit more about some of the EJ groups and about what you're interested in seeing. And so we've asked folks maybe every once a meeting to give a presentation. This month we've asked Catholic Charities to give a little information about what they do, who they are, and just to get to know everybody a little bit better. So Hector, if I could turn it over to you for an update on Catholic Charities.
Sure, thank you.
Ollie, are you able to stop sharing your screen, Ollie? Are you able to pull that flyer down?
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
So let me get my presentation up and running. Okay, so give me a second. And okay, so can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, perfect, thanks.
Okay, so what I decided to do as far as for this presentation, most of the EJ partners here on this call and most of the groups here know about our environmental justice program, but we're a subset overall of Catholic Charities, Diocese of Stockton. And I just wanted to give people information about our other programs that we have that we don't really get a chance or opportunity to really talk about, and how multifaceted our overall group is and our services are. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with first Catholic or the Environmental Justice Program, and then transition to all the other services that we have throughout Catholic Charities here for the counties that we cover. And let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, so we are a faith-based organization. We are a traditional 501c3, so we're a traditional nonprofit, but we are faith-based. Again, obviously the Catholic faith, and our specific program's been around since 2015, actually 2015, sorry. And just as a picture of us and some of the legislation we worked, if you're looking at the type of work that we do, it's pretty much three facets, right? One here is legislation and policy, meaning with legislators, talking to them about certain bills, either assembly bills or Senate bills that we would like to see, our position on them, and things related to environmental protections. The second facet would be community outreach, community capacity building, and then the third is working within our diocese. So pretty much our program was given the blessing by Stephen Blair, our Bishop Blair. He based, environmental protection and environmental justice group a lot on Pope Francis's teachings, his book of Laudato Si, which is Caring for Creation, which is basically a call to action for people of the Catholic faith to get involved with environmental changes, to also work with people from other faiths to make sure that we're all involved, seeing this as one of the biggest threats to humanity and the biggest threats to the globe that we face in our lifetime. So coming from the top, it's a call to action. Stephen Blair is one that was instrumental in starting this program and allowing us to expand and grow. And just real quick, what is environmental justice? Oh, I didn't want to do that yet. Okay, and most of us here know what environmental justice is, the definitions, and I'll leave that up there for those who don't, but I'm not going to cover this too much. But again, environmental justice is just an arm of social justice, offering the same protections, but same environmental protections, right? So now we're looking at a map of traditional redlining in our community. This is Stockton, and you see how Stockton's communities, the redlined areas were the ones that were the disadvantaged areas that the government labeled as not as investment worthy as some of the other neighborhoods, right? And you see that when we're looking at the city of Stockton now, we're looking at how city of Stockton's been laid out with more prosperous north and the disadvantaged communities in the south. A lot of it can be related right back to traditional redlining. And how this overlays to CalEnviroScreen, to air quality, water quality, environmental issues. You see that the redlining and the red zones on CalEnviroScreen directly overlay, and there's a direct correlation between them. The red areas were the redlined areas, and they are the ones that are still, to this day, the ones that face the biggest pollution burdens. So some of the work that we do, we're part of the AB 617 Community Air Protection Program. So we work with, of course, grants through CARB, and they're on this call, the California Air Resource Board, and we do outreach to the community members, build some capacity, along with workshops, some trainings to really let them know the type of programs that are available to help communities here in South Stockton. We're also part of the Transformative Climate Communities funding. That's coming from the Strategic Growth Council that's managed by City of Stockton. The overall group is called Stockton Rising, again, focused on South Stockton, which this program actually overlaps with the TCC boundary zone. And we've just started round 4, which is our second round of funding. The first round was about $10 million in grant funding. The second round here is about 24 million, and it's focused on a capital project around McKinley Park in South Stockton, along with some of the other expansion of the programs that we've been doing before, which, our partners are on board. They know what we're doing. So tree planting, solar, capacity building, youth groups, appliances, upgrades. So a lot of work that we're doing, including with the bus system, purchasing an electric bus for South Stockton routes. So I wanted to cover overall for Stockton Catholic Charities' Diocese of Stockton, our overall services. We've been around for 85 years, actually. So been around longer than the Port of Stockton has been actually in functioning. So for quite a ways, and we cover these counties: San Joaquin, Calaveras, Mono, Stanislaus, Tuolumne, and Alpine counties. So even though our name is Catholic Charities Diocese of Stockton, we cover what the diocese covers, and the Stockton Diocese covers all these counties too. So that's where our services are at. For us, for the Environmental Justice Program, we are in San Joaquin County and Stanislaus County. So we have 2 team members in San Joaquin and 2 team members in Stanislaus County. Very similar in what we do. And some of our locations, we have 3 offices: San Joaquin Street here in Stockton, close to downtown Stockton. We have Modesto and in Sonora. And then some of our programs. So talking about some of our programs, we have a senior services program, which is elder abuse prevention, helping them coming home from care homes, ombudsman program, homemakers program, the MSSP program. So a lot of senior services programs. Again, when we're talking about all our services, all our programs, of course, everything is free for the community, those who qualify. Our veteran services. So we have wraparound services for our veteran services. We work with homeless veterans, try to get them into housing, money management, health referrals, mental health referrals, helping them out with things like with the Veterans Administration to get them qualified. So working a lot with our veterans and doing outreach, doing stand downs, really trying to get the word out to our veterans here within the communities, within the areas that we cover, and try to get them, especially those that are unhoused, into housing. Immigration services, ESL classes, asylum services, legal services, help you with your paperwork, including assistance with U visas, V visas, or U visas, and what's the other one? So for visas for undocumented persons that were victims of crime, it's either U visa or the I think it's V visa or W visa, one of those. And then healthcare services, help with signing up for Medi-Cal, Healthy Smiles. Medi-Cal has expanded recently, so even those that don't have legal residence are able to qualify for Medi-Cal here in California. It is limited, but there is some type of assistance available to them. Of course, we have our food bank, our nutrition services. It's not just giving food away, it's every Wednesday to give food away here at our Stockton office. But also classes on cooking, healthy living, signing up for CalFresh, and being able to use your resources and really try to live a little more healthier as far as with your food choices and how you prepare food. Family wellness. So we have counseling services, right? Parenting education, family counseling. It's going to be individual or group counseling, grandparent support, and mentoring for higher education. So mentoring those that, especially first generation that are trying to get into college, very difficult, especially when you don't have family members themselves who've been to college that can really guide you. So this is a way to help you out, that you can reach out to them and they can help you out as far as navigating the process of higher education, of getting into higher education. Disaster case management, and that's for FEMA declared disasters. I know recently we've had some flooding. Last year, there was some FEMA declarations here for parts of San Joaquin County. So our disaster case management would help out in those specific FEMA declared disasters. And that's about it. So any other questions, you can like and follow us on our social media. We have all these accounts. And if there's any questions, I would definitely like to hear from you.
Thanks so much, Hector. That was a lot more than I thought you guys did. That's amazing.
Right, and that's one of the reasons I want to share some of our other programs. We're more than environmental justice. We're pretty expansive.
Yeah, no, that's great. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything. Well, thank you so much. And even as more than just having you guys present, we'd like to start at least having meetings with all the environmental justice groups, like individually, whether that includes a tour or not, which has always been a an offer. I think it's important for us to sit down at least once a year, maybe 4 times a year, to really talk about, issues that you guys are passionate about, and see. There's a lot of times where we are on the same page. It's just hard to kind of figure out where some of those things align. But thank you so much, Hector. We appreciate the presentation today. Okay. Last meeting ran over a little bit. We didn't get a chance to finish up. CARB wanted to present a little bit more about their Clean Truck Check program. So I believe Beth is here to pick back up. Thank you so much, Beth, for being patient and waiting for us to come back to you and finish the presentation from last time. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm not sure what was presented last time, but I'll just give you a quick overview. Let me share my screen. Just putting my glasses on would help so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. How's that? Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
So I'm Beth White. I'm with CARB. I oversee the implementation of the Clean Truck Check program. So this, it's similar to truck and bus, somewhat similar to PSIP, the Periodic Smoke Inspection Program, as far as the applicability of the vehicles it applies to. So over 14,000 pounds, operating in California. So, just like truck and bus, it includes out-of-state vehicles. So the second you're operating in California, you're subject to the regulation kind of thing, with some very rare exemptions to that. Not similar to the Periodic Smoke Inspection Program. There aren't exemptions for, say, owner-operators, less than 4 years or less old, and things like that. And so we've tried really hard to not only do general outreach in every way, shape, and form through industry groups and trade organizations and the usual avenues, but also targeted. So if you're a motorhome owner and you weren't subject to truck and bus, or you're an owner operator and you weren't subject to PSIP, we've tried really hard to reach out to those groups to make sure they understand that they are subject to Clean Truck Check. And as far as if PSIP is still in effect, it is still in effect up until periodic smoke inspection, periodic testing starts. And so once Clean Truck Check starts their periodic testing requirements, then PSIP will sunset. As far as ensuring equity through enforcement, compliance, as many of you know, through the Senate Bill 210 is linked to the DMV registration beginning in 2024. CARB is also enforcing out-of-state vehicle compliance. When the registration's automated like that, it allows us to put more time on the out-of-state vehicles through boots on the ground, coordination with, say, EPA and things like that. We also work very closely with CHP enforcement, and they have the authority to help enforce this regulation with us. So really quickly, this is just a phase-in chart that shows that January 1 of 2023 was when we first started doing the screening for potential high emitters. And so that's through the remote emissions monitoring devices, where we screen to see what the emissions are that are emitted from that vehicle, alongside the automated license plate reader, so that we can automatically detect that. And then if we do detect a potential high emitter, they are sent a notice to submit to testing from our enforcement staff. They have 30 days to submit a passing compliance test, so that gives them time to make any necessary repairs. That vehicle will have a registration hold if they cannot bring it into compliance. Then we phased in, the deadline was originally the end of last year for reporting and paying compliance fees to meet the 2023 requirements. And then to ensure that folks had plenty of time to get the reporting completed and that the system that they reported into was stable, we extended that deadline until January 31 of 2024. If the vehicle has not been reported and or the compliance fee paid to meet the 2023 requirements at this point, that vehicle is considered non-compliant and could be subject to registration holds and other enforcement action. Also, currently, right now, as in this phase of the regulation, freight contractors, brokers, and freight facilities, those requirements are all in effect right now, such that the freight contractors and brokers have certain requirements to ensure that those vehicles / fleets are in compliance, as do ports and rail yards. And there are options on how to meet that. I would say the major ports that have gotten back to us on how they plan to handle that, whether they are collecting non-compliant vehicle information or they are refusing entry, have to date opted for the refusing entry once, you know, that kicks in as far as the registration holds and the compliance certificates and all of that kicks in. So for ports, I recently sent out a notification to all of those that are involved in Kiteworks. And so we're trying to form maybe a slightly better list, working with the drayage folks like we do, and to make sure that we don't miss some of the contacts, because I did hear back from a few folks that they had not received the notification that the good VIN list that we're going to be sending out to ports and rail yards, we had hoped to do that on or about February the 1st of this year, and that's been delayed to July 1st. So hopefully folks got that. If you didn't, you can certainly contact me directly and let me know you need to get added onto the list. But we are trying to get a different list from the drayage folks to try and have that be more all-encompassing for folks. And then periodic testing deadlines on or after July 1 is when that would kick in for this year. And they would have 90 days prior to that deadline that they have, based on their DMV registration date and the tables that we've extended out for 2024 to go start testing, which gives them time, like I said, to make repairs if they need to. So this is just a quick, slightly more detail as far as the phase 1 requirements that have been over a year in effect. And so I think the only thing I would add here is a few stats, and they're pretty recent. And that is that we've screened, you know, roadside inspections type of thing, over 525,000 vehicles, and that about 1,700 notices to submit to testing for potential high emitters were issued in 2023.
Is that random when you, I'm sorry, is that random?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that random when you select them, or is there something that triggers for you to ask them to come in for testing?
It certainly can be triggered. I think one of the things that vividly comes to memory, because I've been with CARB for a very long time and I oversaw the implementation of truck and bus for over 10 years before I got into what I'm into now. And we were having one of our media events at the border in Otay Mesa. And, you know, one of those times where all of the news stations showed up, which wasn't always true, and that it was on the news, which isn't always true, depends on what's going on in the news. And up pulled this just black smoking vehicle to be inspected. And all the cameras turned around and you know, immediately we're filming that. So certainly if a black smoker's coming down the road, you know, CHP will wave them over and we'll do our inspection, they'll do their inspections and that kind of thing. So sometimes it is triggered by something like that. Otherwise it can just be, you know, random where they're stationed outside ports or rail yards, or they're at way stations or the border or things like that.
Hopefully I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beth. I just did a little quick math here, and you got 1,700 NSTs with over 525,000 vehicles screened. That's a positive rate of 0.3%.
So those aren't related. So let me maybe say a few more words, and hopefully that will make more sense. So the 525,000 are roadside inspections, period. The notices to submit to testing are based off of what you see in that first bullet up there that I talked about already, which is the remote emissions monitoring devices and the automated license plate readers. So for those, you know, that automatically detect potential high emitters, as soon as they detect a potential high emitter, it is sent a notice to submit to testing. So that is 100% of those that goes out to.
Okay, so how many vehicles have passed through your remote monitoring devices?
That I don't know. off the
Would
top
you
of
so
my
would you say
head.
what, 1 million vehicles have gone through maybe or more because it's remote? You know, trucks pass by, you know, maybe dozens an hour or more.
Yeah, I mean, I really just have no idea. I mean, I know there's a lot of numbers rolling around in my head about how many vehicles I know in a given year operate in California, out of state and in state, and all of that. But like you said, they could be passing through multiple times. Those stations aren't everywhere. We do have some mobile, some stationary stations for the remote emissions. So I actually have no idea what that number is as far as how many that impacts. But I would say that the good news is that the second it thinks it really is in this potential high emitter category, all of those get this notice. So it may be a small percent.
It seems like the positive news here is that you've only sent out 1,700 notices after screening potentially bazillions
A lot.
of
Yes.
trucks. And so
Agreed.
compliance in California, that's a really optimistic statement you're making.
Yeah, no, it is good news that the low-hanging fruit is a small percentage of the whole.
Yeah, very small. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So just a little bit of information about, reporting and compliance fees. It's an annual compliance fee. If it's subject, it should be reported already. The deadline was the 31st of January, and that if you add or delete a vehicle in your California fleet, you have 30 days to get that into the reporting system. That being said, if you're entering California, you need to be in compliance the second you cross the border. So if you're not already reported, or if your compliance fee is due, or when periodic testing kicks in, your periodic testing is due within 3 days of you coming into California, let's say, then you have to comply to operate in California. So that 30 days is more of a maximum, I guess I would say, just to be clear on that. We tried to lay in features in the reporting system that we thought would be helpful. For the Penske's and the Swift and the Riders and JB Hunt and all of these major, huge fleets that would really appreciate that. We made sure that we had not only a batch vehicle upload available, but also one to pay the compliance fees. So that's $30 per vehicle annually, like I said, and we offer 3 options for payment, and that's credit card, debit card, and telecheck or e-check. The e-checks take a little longer to process. The cards are instantaneous as far as how fast the payments clear. So advice, of course, is going to be please don't wait till the last minute to make the compliance fee payment in case it's telecheck and it takes a little bit to process and you need your certificate and you need the ports to know that you're compliant and all of those important aspects of that. And then same thing for when periodic testing comes into play. Don't wait till the last minute to test, because then if you have to make repairs, you're going to be out of compliance until you get the passing compliance test. And so for periodic testing, I think I've pretty much covered everything that's in here. I think the only thing of note is that the deadlines that you base your compliance fee due dates on and your periodic testing due dates on is either going to be based on California DMV registration, if you have that. And if not, and you're either have exempt plates like government vehicles or what am I trying to think of? Or you're out of state, if there's a VIN table. And so it's based off of the last digit of the VIN so that you know what your due dates are for that. So there's there's 2 ways you can determine what your date is. Special equipment's in sort of a weird category because they only register every 5 years and the deadline's always, 12/31 of 2020, 2025, 2030, that kind of thing. So since they have annual deadlines, then it would be 12/31 of each year would be their expiration date kind of thing. And so that's what they base that off of. I did include a slide with the tables in it. And if you want the presentation, I think I already sent it. But it should have all of this in it if someone wants this level of detail. And I don't want to take up too much.
Beth, how many locations for testing are there, and how much does it cost to open a testing location? Where did she go?
I think we lost her.
I think so too.
She must have dropped. Let's see if she rejoins.
That's one thing that won't happen at in-person meetings.
Hopefully not. Hi, Jessica. Oh, was that Jessica? Were you raising your hand?
I was just laughing along with Margot. I hope that our April meeting, there's not a mysterious disappearance mid presentation.
Yes, that's right. I forgot to mention that the next AB 617 meeting, or the April meeting, is going to be at the port in person, which would be great.
Yes.
Do any of the other CARB people have any information on the question I asked?
I don't think there's anybody else from CARB on.
We could submit it, David.
Oh, Rachel. Yeah, Rachel is on.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here too. Oh boy, howdy, that's outside. That's pretty far outside my wheelhouse, though.
Thank you.
That being said, I can follow up with Beth to get some more information from her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we can easily follow up on.
Yeah, what was your question? One more time. Let me.
Okay, where do you get the special testing if you get a notice of non-compliance?
Oh wait, she's joining.
Oh, hey, well, there we go.
Sorry, Beth. I don't know what happened.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I had a lot of meetings today, so I keep running around the building with my laptop unplugged, and I knew that was going to bite me at some point.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second and let me share my screen again.
No worries.
So while you're doing that, Beth, I was asking a
Yes.
question about how many testing locations are there around the state if you get a notice of violation, and how much is the cost for a test, and how much does it cost to get into the testing business?
Okay, that was a lot of questions. So you know what I think I will do? I will go through the rest of the slides super fast. And if I don't answer it, then I'll give you some stats or whatever it is that you might be asking. So those are the tables. Different requirements for OBD versus non-OBD. There's the model years for OBD for alt fuel and diesel. Only CARB approved test devices. Non-OBD is the smoke test, and then the visual of the emissions control equipment. And for non-OBD for alt fuel, it's only the visual inspection. So that's probably detail that you might not have wanted. Okay, so credentialed testers, we have a training course online. It's free. You pass the test 80% or better. You renew it every 2 years. We're seeing a wide spread of some are fleet employees, some are for hire. We have on our website, anybody who checks the yes, please put me on CARB's website for the for hire so they can be listed there. It is now searchable. We've managed to get that laid in last year. And so you can search by location, California, some neighboring states, and let's see, you get a unique tester ID is issued when you do that. And then just similar to smog check for light duty, they send those into us.
Of all people, David had to.
Okay, so what were I think you were asking how many credentialed testers we have? Or there's a lot of locations. You can search online and find those.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. 6,000 at the last time I looked, which was probably a month or so ago. And about 2,000 of those are posted online for hire because a lot of fleets want to do it in-house. Also, it's a box that you check, so I'm sure there's a small percentage of that. I forgot to check the box, but one would think that at some point they would want to be hired, so they would check the box and get back to us on that. So I think we already pretty much talked through freight contractors and brokers and freight facilities. Relative to environmental justice focus and outreach and enforcement aspects of that, for outreach, we have the CARB EJ blog in English and Spanish both. We have an outreach kit that we emailed to AB 617 steering committees. Every once in a while, we update that and then we send it out again. Certainly made presentations at AB 617 steering committee meetings. The outreach kit was emailed to the EJ contact list, which is over 300 at this point. And then, of course, more plans for this year kind of thing. So those were some bullets from last year. So we're moving forward for this year. Over 6,000 of the roadside inspections. I think that has to do with location versus the actual number of vehicles at those locations. And then in 2023, 75%, and that's pretty standard, of the inspections were located in communities that are disproportionately affected by air pollution. And that's a resources page. And if questions that you have about the program, there's an email for that, just like there's a trucker's email for those, vehicles reported in truckers for the regs that are in there. That's the HDIM@arb.ca.gov. Fully staffed by my staff and there to answer questions. Right now, we're having a pretty quick response time, 1-2 days kind of thing. Once in a while, we hit a bump of a spike and it takes maybe a little bit longer, but usually 1 to 2 days right now is the response time. And there you have it.
Thank you so much, Beth. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties across all the sources, but were there any questions for Beth other than what we've had so far? All right, I don't see anything. Douglas, did you have one? Okay. Well, I just want to thank everybody. We're out of time, but I do, as always, want to express an invitation to come to the port, to do a tour if you haven't. As I mentioned, I'm going to try to be setting up meetings with all the various EJ groups over the next 6 months to sit down and discuss specific issues. But in the meantime, if you would like a tour, we'd love to have you come out and we can show you the things that we're doing. So if there's nothing else, I will wish you all. Yes.
When is that meeting? Will start, what month, or when are you gonna have that the event that we're referring to?
The truck event?
Yes, you're talking about right now.
We're having the truck event is next week, but as far as tours go, which you've been on, we're offering them. There's no specific time. I'm asking if you could reach out and set something up with the port.
Okay, I'll definitely will do that. I'll reach out to the port, or I think Julia. Okay, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, and then I will and also if can Julia, if one participant says that an interpreter will be available at that time slot.
At the event?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
if
Douglas,
there's yeah, go ahead.
We're reaching out, and then if we're able to get one, we were thinking about doing it for 2 hours. So I can give you a call tomorrow, and we can look at the agenda to see what the best time would be for you to come out, and then to see if we can also get an interpreter. So I'll call you tomorrow.
Perfect. All right, great. Thank you so much. It was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thanks all. Have a great evening. If there's nothing else, then we will see you next month.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.